Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another What's for Dinner video. In today's video, I'm going to be making a crispy baked cod. This recipe is so delicious. So if you want to see how I make that, then stay with me. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Kristi. I'm currently following the WW Blue program, but on my channel I do provide the points for all three programs, and I also share calories as well, so I'd love to have you as part of the family. So like I said, I'm making a crispy baked cod recipe. This is actually a recipe that I got from Blue Apron. So years ago I did Blue Apron. I had their deliveries sent to me, and I really enjoyed that one. There are a couple home delivery services that I really did care for, and Blue Apron was one of them. This is not sponsored in any way. I'm just sharing my personal opinion with them. So I'm actually going to be making this recipe in the oven. I'm going to do it exactly like it says on the website, but you definitely could make this in the air fryer if you wanted. So let me show you how easy this is to make. So the points on this are 8 points on blue, 5 points on purple, 10 points on green, and if you're counting calories, it's 460 calories. For this recipe, I'm just making enough for two. So what I'm going to need are some cod loins. I will say that I have used the Aldi cod loins. They're like sustainably farmed cod, and those are pretty good as well. These ones are the Greenwise wild caught cod loins that I get from Publix. And these ones come just in, you just get 2 of them in there. This is 10 ounces, and which is exactly what I want. I want cod that is about 5 ounces each piece. So what you can do with these is either take them out of your freezer and put them in your fridge for like 12 hours to let them thaw out, or you can rinse them in cold water, which is what I'll be doing. The recipe also calls for a tablespoon of Italian seasoning, but I am not going to be using a whole tablespoon. That to me seems like a lot, so I'm just going to be using maybe half a tablespoon. We're also going to need, well, look at that. All right, my mustard container had fallen down into that, and I had mustard all over there. We're also going to need a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, which I have here. We're going to need a lemon, a 1/4 cup of panko breadcrumbs, 12 ounces of red or golden potatoes. I'm going to use red potatoes, and you can either skin them if you want or just leave the skins on. I usually keep the skins on mine. You're also going to need some broccoli. The recipe calls for a 1/2 pound of broccoli, so I just cut up a bunch of broccoli in there. And you're also going to need some grana padano cheese, which this can sometimes be hard to find. So usually if I can't find this, I just use Parmesan. You can very easily use Parmesan. So for this, the recipe calls for 0.7 of an ounce. So I usually use 3/4 of an ounce. The points is based on the 3/4 of an ounce. And then the other thing we need is 1 clove of garlic, but if you know me, if something calls for 1 clove of garlic, I usually use more than that. All right, so I'm just weighing out my cheese. So there's 3/4 of an ounce. So now I'm gonna feel like I'm a server at Olive Garden, and I'm just going to grate my cheese. And that smells very rich. All right, I'm gonna set that aside. So now I'm gonna mince the garlic, and I'm also going to cut the potatoes. So we're just gonna go through and cut those into thin slices. You don't wanna get them too thin because they will crisp up in the oven. We're gonna bake this, so they do burn very easily. It just depends. Now we prefer our potatoes and broccoli to really kind of be really roasted and crispy. So it just depends on how you like them. So after those are all cut up, now I'm going to put the potatoes in a bowl. So now I've taken a foil lined tray, and I did spray it with some cooking spray, even though I have olive oil on here. So now we're going to put the potatoes in there. This is the part that differs a little bit in the way I do it and the way the recipe has it. So the recipe says at this point to start baking the potatoes, but I honestly do the potatoes and the broccoli at the same time because I prefer my broccoli to be more roasted. So it's really up to you as to how much you like the broccoli roasted, whether you want to do it now or let the potatoes. So basically they have the potatoes cook first for like 11 minutes. I just end up cooking both the potatoes and the broccoli for probably about 20 to 25. So I'm just trying to spread these out a little bit. It's going to get stirred up after like the halfway mark. I'll stir them anyway. And then the broccoli is going to go on the other side. So now I'm going to take my bowl and put the broccoli in there. And I'm going to put another teaspoon of olive oil in there. And then I'm just going to add some salt and pepper. And just give those a mix. And those are going to get dumped right on the pan. Whoop. So you want to make sure that you use a big pan because as you can see, that's going to fill it up quite a bit. And the oven, I have my oven preheated to 450 degrees. So I'm going to put that in the oven, as I said, 450 degrees. I'm going to get that started and then we're going to start. I'm going to check on my fish, make sure it's thawed, and then I'll show you how we do the topping for the fish. Okay, now we're going to do the topping for the fish, and you know what? I wasn't even thinking. The garlic doesn't have to be diced. It has to be put into like a paste. So if you have a garlic press, just put it through your garlic press. I honestly have done it diced, and it still comes out just as good, but you want to try and get it into a paste. All right, so you want to quarter and de-seed your lemon. So now in here, I'm going to put a teaspoon of olive oil. I'm also going to add in the juice of 2 lime wedges. I'm going to add in the breadcrumbs and half of the cheese. And then we're going to add a little bit of the Italian seasoning and salt and pepper to taste. And then just mix that up, and that is going to be the topping for the top of the fish. All right, so I have my fish here. So now I'm going to put the fish on the foil lined sprayed pan, and I'm going to sprinkle it with some salt and pepper. Then I'm going to brush it with the Dijon mustard. Now, if you don't like mustard, the flavor of mustard on your fish, leave this out because normally I don't taste mustard when I put it on things, but I definitely do taste it on this recipe. So you could leave this out, maybe brush it with, you know, like some egg whites or something instead. Just want something for it to stick the coating on. And then just take the coating, you want half on each one, you're just going to press it right onto it. So now depending on the thickness of your cod, this takes about 14 to 16 minutes to bake. So what I usually do is for the broccoli and the potatoes at the halfway mark, I flip them. So once I flip them, that's when I'll put this in. So those have a few more minutes left before I have to flip them. All right, so these have been in here about 15 minutes. So now I'm just gonna flip them over. And if you need to spray a little bit more, then go ahead and do that. You shouldn't have to as long as you put the olive oil in with it. But this is why they say to add the broccoli later. As you can see, it's pretty roasted, but we really like our broccoli roasted, so that's why I added it all together. So now I'm going to put it back in for another 15, and at the same time I'm going to put my fish tray in there as well. Okay, so there's still about 5 minutes left on the fish, but I did go ahead and take these out just because these are getting really roasted. Now, like I said, we like them that way, so if you don't like them that way, definitely you'll want to take them out earlier. They are going to go back in though for a couple minutes, just enough to let this cheese melt. So now we're just going to put the cheese over the potatoes. And if you want to, you could put a little bit even on the broccoli. And then that's going to go back in the oven for about 2 minutes. All right, so now we're going to get this plated. So like I said, this is enough for 2, so I'm just going to split this up between the 2 of us. And then if you want, with the other lemon, you can just squirt some lemon on your broccoli. My husband doesn't like lemon on his, so I'll just put it on mine. And there is the fish. I'm telling you, this is so good. So not a bad portion for the points and calories. And let me show you, just cut right into it. It should just flake right off. Perfect crunch. You can really taste that mustard. So if you're not one for mustard flavor, you may want to leave that out, but oh, I just think it adds so much good flavor to it. So again, 8 points on blue, 5 points on purple, 10 points on green, and 460 calories. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. I'm Kristi, and I'm Planning Us Healthy.